Welcome to the second video tutorial from the Dashboard in WinForms series. In the previous video, we built the pie chart. Now we are going to build the second chart, the bar chart. Let's get back to our dashboard project in Visual Studio. We start building the bar chart by creating its axes. They are instances of the axis class, which exposes members for customizing an axis. Of course, the charting library has a bar chart control, but it cannot be nested in a dashboard. So we will build a bar chart from the same elements the built-in bar chart control is constructed. We initialize a new axis instance, the x-axis. It will span from 0 to 50, the interval is 5, which gives us 10 divisions. The title is Annual Sales, or whatever you decide. The y-axis is created the same way. Since our chart will be horizontal, the y-axis is needed just to distribute the bars along the axis. We will make it span from minus 0.5 to 6. The interval is 1, which is the default interval for bars that are horizontal. This axis has no title. The axis class represents an axis but does not render it. This is done by renderer classes. X-axis renderer for horizontal axes and Y-axis renderer for vertical ones. An axis renderer requires the axis to be rendered as a parameter in the constructor and exposes a variety of properties for visually customizing the axis appearance. So, we create one y-axis renderer instance to render the bar y-axis. We create a x-axis renderer instance for the bar x-axis. We use the label brush and title brush properties of the axis renderer classes to specify the brush for the axis labels and title. It will be in cream, one of the colors we defined globally when we started coding the application. We will create now an instance of the bar series class that will provide the data for the chart. Bar series requires a list with double values. The bar series class is one of the series classes that you can use to specify data for charts. It has fields for all labels a bar chart could have: inner, top, and labels at the axis. Just like an axis requires a renderer, so does a bar series require a renderer to render the data. The bar renderer class takes a collection with series and renders them as bars. The class exposes multiple properties for customizing how the bar chart will look. A bar render has properties for the x and y axes, which we have to assign if we want our bar chart to render correctly. For a horizontal bar chart, we need to set horizontal bars to true. The bar spacing ratio property indicates how much space between the bars is left relative to the bar width. E.g., it controls how thick the bars will be and how much space between them is left. 0.3 makes the bars take 70% of the available space, and 30% is left empty between each pair of bars. In the previous tutorial, we initialized a list with various brushes, which we used to create a series style of type per element series style. This series style assigns to each element, in each series in a chart, a different brush. We assign the style to the series style of the bar renderer. At the end, we assign to the bar renderer a labels brush in gray. What we need now is a plot to put the bar renderer and the axis renderers onto. We will use the plot2D class for that. The class has also lots of properties for customizing the plot, properties about the grid, the axis, the highlight of elements, etc. We create a new plot2D instance and assign the bar x-axis and bar y-axis variables to its x-axis and y-axis properties. We specify a border stroke in blue. The grid will be vertical and the color of grid lines, blue again. The Grid Color 1 and Grid Color 2 properties allow you to specify alternating grid stripes, but we see them in the same color. The grid lines are 1 point thick and the style is dashed. Finally, we need to add a series renderer. We have just one, the bar renderer. Note that the property is of type list and supports multiple renderers on one plot, so you can create combination charts. In order to complete the bar chart, we need one more thing, a layout container, which will hold all renderers and arrange them in the right way. The Charting API has a Layout Builder class, which has plenty of methods for creating layout panels based on your needs to create a specific chart with a specific number of axes on all 4 sides of the plot. In our case, we are building a standard chart. We create an instance of the Layout Builder class using the dashboard. Then we call the createPlot with bottom and left axes method to create a layout container for a standard bar chart. The parameters are our plot and the x and y axis renderers, which we initialized earlier. We will use the same border component and label for the bar chart that we used for the pie chart. We copy the code and replace pie with bar. The content has to be the bar plot, and we also need to change the grid column of the 2 components. They are in column number 1, e.g. the second column. Finally, we need to add the bar border and title to the children of the dashboard's layout panel. With that, we are already building the chart. If everything is okay, we should be able to see it. And here it is. In the original dashboard, the bar chart was indeed under the pie chart. That can be done easily by changing the grid row and column of the bar border. And here it is. Our bar chart now appears under the pie chart, as it should. We can increase the top margin of the bar border. Now the bar chart stays exactly as it should. And this is the end of this video tutorial. Next time we will build the line chart. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your interest in MindFusion Developer Tools.